Hello, this is Ryan Zachos with Zachos Realty out of Sarasota, Florida. In today's video, we are talking with Chris Rayborn from All Seeing Home Inspections, and we thought it would be a really good video to talk to you about what goes into a home inspection and all the questions involved. Explain to us a little bit about actually what is a home inspection and what goes into that in about 30 seconds here.
So a home inspection is somebody coming out, an inspector coming out and looking at your home, and we're looking at for safety things. We're not code inspectors, so we're not looking for code violations per se, but we're looking at things that are going to make your home safe. We're looking at things that are going to cost you money. So we're looking at all your major systems, your roof, your HVAC system. We're looking at your electrical system. We're looking at your plumbing. We're also looking at some of the other things, flooring, things to that extent, maybe vapor barriers and crawl spaces, things like that, your insulation, your attic, the way your attic's built. So those are some of the things we're looking at, long and short, just to make sure that what we're doing is we're saving you money and not costing you a lot of money, and also making sure your home is very safe for your living.
And from my experience in doing this, you guys dig into the details, essentially, is the idea of it. So in a full comprehensive home inspection, it's everything from the opening of windows to something as easy as inspecting a roof. I don't call it easy, but you know what I mean. So,
I mean, we're opening your cabinet doors. We're looking at to make sure that they meet when they close, make sure they close properly, make sure they're not hanging awkwardly. We're looking at your refrigerator if it's part of the deal, to make sure it's up to temp, make sure it's going to actually not spoil your food. We're looking at your dishwasher. We're looking at the way your sinks drain. If you have a big tub, we're going to fill it up. We're going to see how it drains. Yeah. If it's got jacuzzi jets, we're going to make sure, I try not to soak your house, but we're going to make sure that the jacuzzi jets are working. Right. So those are things we're looking at when we're doing a home inspection. It's not just all about the basics. We're looking at everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think the average home inspection is probably 2 hours, and that's depending on the size of the home and all that.
At least 2 hours. At least 2 hours. I mean, for us to get through and look at everything. I mean, we might see a spot on your ceiling that needs to be investigated. It might be a wet spot. We might be looking at a roof leak, things like that. So
now, other things that go into the home inspection process. I know you obviously have the full inclusive home inspection, but then I know you have other things like a 4-point, a wind mitt. What are some things that you offer as part of the home inspection process?
So, being in Florida, some of the things that are unique to Florida, there's a 4-point and a wind mitt. Those are things that you don't do, I don't think in any other states. They do those down here because the 4-point and the wind mitt are both insurance and a roof cert. They're all insurance inspections. They're looking at the 4-points, looking at your 4 major sections: your roof, your HVAC system, your plumbing, and your electric system. Mm-hmm. Anything that's going to cost the insurance company money somehow, some way, we're looking at. Your wind mitigation, we're looking for uplift. What can cause uplift to your roof? What can cause issues in a hurricane? And we're looking at your impact resistance, your windows, your garage door. We're looking at the way your roof's attached to the walls. We're looking at the way your decking's attached to your trusses. And we're looking at your roof system as a whole.
From my experience on the insurance side, the newer the home, the lower the insurance, because everything's up to code, obviously.
Absolutely.
So even an older home with a new roof, you're going to get a lot of credits based on what they're doing with the new roof replacement.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you have the new roof, they're going to get you have new roofing materials. Your decking's been nailed down better. You've got more of your 8D nails, as they call them, 8-penny nails, on shorter distances. So there's a lot more credit you're going to get for those. Right. Also, if you do, you've got your clips, which is a whole nother video with clips and straps with the 3rd nail. Right. So there's things like
all
that.
The Florida specific stuff.
You got it. Things we're going to identify.
Right. All right. So other inspections, I know you talked about you guys do an air quality test as well.
Yep. We can do air quality testing. We've got a machine called a Buck Air. We do. Outside, we test the outside air compared to the inside air. We can also do, if we see things that look obviously like mold, we can do a tape lift or we can do a swab. We send them off to a lab for their evaluation, and then at that point in time, we recommend further assessment and possibly remediation.
Yeah, pool inspection's a big thing down here as well.
Definitely. In Florida, it is a monster thing down here. Pool cages, pool decks. We want to look at the way your handrails are. We want to make sure that you have no voltage flowing through your pool if you've got a light in your pool. There's a lot of things we're looking at in the pool. We'll even test the water if we need to, just to make sure that it's where it needs to be.
I know there's a couple other inspections that we recommend, and you even recommend as well, that you don't perform, and that would be like WDO, which is wood destroying organisms, done by usually a pest control company.
Absolutely.
down here, cast iron pipes for older homes has kind of been an issue, so we recommend getting home scoped.
Yeah, you're looking at the 70s and 80s homes and earlier. Some of the cast iron gets a little brittle. Most of our plumbing goes through because we're all slab homes down here, so most of the plumbing goes under the slab, and that brittle cast iron can cause bellies in areas where you have issues with the draining. With there's Chinese drywall in some of the areas that were more in the 80s homes that were built that actually has a high sulfuric count and actually can cause issues with your electrical system and some of your plumbing. It can cause a lot of your electronics or your coffee makers, your dishwasher and things like that to fail prematurely. Those are things we look at too.
Being in the real estate industry, I get it with the misconceptions. There's 8,000 plus realtors here in Sarasota, Manatee County. So I get that there are some misconceptions involved in my industry as well as the home inspection industry. I think the biggest misconception that I hear from buyers is, do I even need one? You know, what am I paying for? What am I getting out of it? Really quickly, can you just beat that misconception?
Absolutely. You know, the one thing down here, there's so many different variants in homes as far as the way they're built, the time, the periods that were built, things like that. What we're looking at is we're making sure that your home's safe. You know, the common buyer might not be able to look at some of the things and identify some of the things such as Chinese drywall, you know, possibility of the cast iron under the floor. So we down here, home inspectors have a better idea and we have a better knowledge of what we're looking at in some of these homes, so we can give you that and impart that knowledge to you, make it a safer buy or a better bet for you to buy when you buy it, and leave with that knowledge, even if it's an issue, that you still can buy the home and still know what is going on with the home.
To lighten it up a bit, I wanted to talk about what's some interesting things you found in homes or funny things you found in homes. I've heard stories from inspectors and from all over the country, whether it's crazy rare things to being attacked by rodents or whatever.
Down here, it's more the lizards, the snakes, the frogs that jump out you unexpectedly, going in crawl spaces and seeing the huge spiders. Things like that. Down here, I got to tell you, I pull the face off electric panels about once a month and just I get shocked because there'll be a big dead lizard in there that is bitten the main wire and has gotten shocked or whatever. And it kind of weirds me out every once in a while. But it's more the animal life, the wildlife down here. It's totally different. You've got the gopher turtles. You've got you've got a lot of different bobcats, things like that they'll get in crawl spaces and you just. It's weird.
Real quick, what are some things, if a buyer's shopping for a home, what are some things that you think are instant that a buyer could take note of when they're actually looking without that home inspector?
I mean, there's a lot of things you can look at. I mean, when you're buying a home, I mean, you're going to go outside and you're going to look at, because a lot of homes down here are block homes, you're going to look for obvious cracks, and not just hairline cracks. Unfortunately, that happens a lot in these block homes. When they're building them, the heat and it shrinks the concrete, so you see some hairline cracks. It's the bigger cracks, things like that, especially in the foundations we have down here. If you're a home buyer and you're not going to get an inspection, those are a few things I'd look at. There's some older piping that you want to look at underneath sinks, things like that. You want to look at for crusty valves. You want to look at your water heater. Make sure they've used some dielectric, or make sure they've used something that's not two different materials that's going to cause that to crust up, possibly leak. Your air conditioning unit's a big thing down here. If you do not have an air conditioning unit that's working properly, or conditioned air in a home, you can wind up with mold and things to that extent. So those are things you want to look at right off the bat as far as big expenses. Roofs down here are also a big thing. Insurance companies are shortening the lifespans of roof. What you get 30 years up north, you're going to get 20 years, maybe 15 years down here.
And I could talk to you, I could spend all day talking about the differentiators of a good real estate agent versus a bad real estate agent. And a lot of that's in the testament in real estate, obviously, is the testament of actually being able to get a buyer in this market under contract when all the other agents are running around writing contracts and not getting them under contract. That's a whole different conversation. As for the home inspectors, what's some differentiators between a good inspector and a bad inspector?
I think a good inspector, for me, is when I'm talking to an inspector, and I had to have an inspector when I first came down here, and the good inspectors are ones that are educators, the ones that will come down here and educate you. They have the tools when they come out and do the job. They're willing to sit down and educate you on what they find. Some home inspectors say, look at the report. Our company, we are going to tell you to look at the report because we want you to look at everything. We're going to sit down before we even leave the house, if we can, and we're going to have a conversation with you. And I think that's what good inspectors do. And I think good inspectors are on call. I get calls at 10 o'clock at night for somebody who sees my report and is just having questions. they're the ones that are available to you. They understand that there's a customer service value when it comes to that. And I think those good inspectors are the ones that are willing to sit down and talk to you about that.
And my last question was going to be, why All Seeing compared to all the other choices? Just like why Ryan Zachos as a realtor over all the other agents, why All Seeing as a home inspector? But I think you kind of answer that with what makes a good home inspector.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it's customer service. I mean, you know, we understand that you're spending money and you want some value, and we understand that we want to give you that value. Right. The value is our report, what we stand behind with our report, and our ability to talk to you about our report and explain our report to you.
That is great. We appreciate you taking the time to come out. I do want to end with, Chris is now a real estate agent with us. He adds a unique value in the fact that he owns All Seeing, and disclaimer, we do not make any money from All Seeing. So
I keep it all myself.
Obviously he does a great work, and that's how we met, and he does a lot of inspections for us. So I wanted to sit down with him and talk to him about, but he is now working as an agent with us, and he does have that unique value of looking at a home from the perspective of a home inspector as well as a real estate agent. If you have any questions, comments, we would love to be a resource for you. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Chris or I would love to answer those questions. Thanks. Have a good day.